I'm out here this weekend at DB Hunting Ranch, which is a ranch located in Central Texas, in the hill country of Central Texas. And I'm excited to be out here with my beloved 1943 Mosey Nagant, the first Mosey Nagant that I purchased. I have a Leopold scope on it. I've got a JMX scope mount, and Max Shepard did the bolt pin for me, which was a beautiful, beautiful product when it all came together. I even refinished the stock on this one as well, and I've had it on a couple of other videos as well. I'm excited to be back out here because I was out here about 3 weeks ago when one of my hunting trips out of town canceled, and this is only about 30 minutes away from my house here in Central Texas. Thunderstorm blew through right at the end of the hunting light, and I could not do any good with the hogs because they just did not want to come in, and they were not interested in feeding at that point. So I'm back out here, a different stand. This is one of the single hunter stands that DB Hunting Ranch has. Very, very nice accommodations out here. About 75 yards to the feeder, and hunting with the good old 1943 Mosey Nagant. So I've always wanted to film a hog hunt with one of these long rifles, and I'm excited about tonight and what we might see. I'm out here tonight with the varmintlights.com VRL1 flashlight tonight that I'm going to be mounting on top of my Mosey Nagant. And this is a really cool flashlight. This is similar to a lot of other flashlights that are on the market, but the one difference is the components that are inside. A lot of people just get these in from China and just send them on through. varmintlights.com takes and works the internal components through and makes sure everything's quality and everything's working. They have very few returns, and that's one of the reasons why they're my sponsor, because I don't like to deal with the hassle of returns, and I'm sure you don't either. But this is the varmintlights.com VRL1. We're going to be trying to shoot some hogs with it tonight. I had to climb out of the blind where I had a little bit better shooting light, but he went down right away. That's a nice looking hog. I love that you can shoot a wild game animal with a gun that possibly served in Stalingrad. That is just a neat feeling to hunt with something that is really a weapon of war, but it can be pressed into service as a hunting rifle very easily. Here's our pig. So I'm back here with our 2 hogs from tonight. One of them I got with daylight, and one of them I got with the Varmint Lights VRL1 flashlight. My first kill on film with this particular flashlight, so that was exciting and gave me another chance to harvest another hog and that I normally would not have. So that's kind of nice. So we've got a boar and a sow here, 1943 Mosin Nagant, old rifle, but can still definitely do some hunting. Thank you so much for watching. Hi there, I'm Dustin Warncke and welcome to Bow Tales. In this segment we're going to talk about compound bow hunting, and more specifically shooting the compound bow with good technique and good fundamentals. Now, before we get into all that, what I wanted to talk to you about real quick is string maintenance. Taking care of your bowstring is very important to ensure that you get longevity out of your bowstring and you don't have to replace it every year if you maintain it correctly, even if you shoot a lot. And one thing I brought with us today is some bow wax or string wax. You can get this at just about any archery shop. I always carry this with me in my hunting pack, and it's a really good idea to just take a little bit and rub it into the string until it disappears. Usually it's a white waxy substance, and you just kind of rub it in there. And I applied some earlier before I started filming here, and just rubbing it in real quick, and your string's as good as new. And you can make sure you take care of any areas that are frayed or any kind of issues like that with some good bow wax, and continuing to put that on your strings throughout the life of your bowstring is important. You're going to get the maximum amount of life from your bowstring if you do that. I've had this bowstring on here for a couple of years now and continue to keep it waxed and ready to shoot. So always carry this in my hunting pack, not a bad idea at all. Well, let's talk about some do's and don'ts about shooting the compound bow. One thing that a lot of shooters will do, whether they're experienced at this or not, is they'll torque the bow with the hand that they hold their bow with, and that would be my left hand in this case because I'm right-handed. And what that does, and I learned this the hard way, is that's going to torque to the left or to the right when you release your shot. So one of the things that I installed in my particular bow, when I shoot a Martin Scepter 2. This is an older version of this bow. This actually came out in 2004. I purchased this used with the arrows and everything else for like $200. It was an incredible bow. And I love shooting this. I've shot several different archery tournaments with this and bow hunt with it as well. And one thing I have that's a necessity is a bow sling. I have this on my bow fishing bow as well as my compound bow here for bow hunting. And having that attached to your stabilizer and ready to go is going to ensure that you are not going to drop your bow. And that's one thing a lot of folks are worried about when they shoot and when they release after they draw. Oh my goodness, if I'm not torquing onto the bow grip, then I'm going to drop the bow. Well, a bow sling helps you do that, helps you hold on to your bow, and helps you stabilize that in case your bow does fall. It helps you to keep from losing your bow, and that's the case. And I've never had that problem. I've never dropped my bow. I've never had any major issues there, but a good strong bow sling like this right here that I've got around my hand is very paramount in that regard. Now, that being said, another thing a lot of shooters will do is punch the trigger, and this is something I've had a big problem with getting over in my infancy of bow hunting and target shooting. So one thing I've learned to do is I always draw with my finger behind the trigger of my release. And there's several different types of releases out here in the archery market. The nice thing about the trigger release is it's a very, very light trigger, and all you have to do is just barely press it and it'll let go. And most folks do shoot a trigger release, especially in bow hunting. So that being said, the only part of my hand I want touching the grip after I'm at full draw. It's okay to grip hard when you're coming to full draw. Sometimes you need to, but the only part I want of my hand is going to be the center part of my hand here between my index finger and my thumb. So that being said, and I've got a nice rubber grip here to make it shooting comfortably, I'm going to pull back just like this. And what I also have for an anchor point is a kisser button, which is right here and goes right here in my mouth, the side of my mouth right here. Having a good anchor point is also very, very important. And whatever that is for you, every shooter has a different type of anchor point. Sometimes it's a string across the nose, or sometimes it's a kisser button like this, or sometimes it's a finger on your face like this as you're with your release hand. Whatever that is for you, make sure you shoot the same way over and over again. Good fundamentals and accuracy go hand in hand together, and shooting the same way consistently over and over again is going to ensure that you are able to tell what your issues are, and people can also watch you, which is how I've gotten better over the years, as people have watched me and said, hey, you need to do this better, you need to do this better. Another thing to consider is when you're aiming at your target, to look down the sight of your peep sight into your sighting system, like I've got your sight pin. Don't look directly at the sight pin. Look at your target and have your sight pin be in the peripheral of your target. That's something that I learned from a longbow shooter one time, who said, you know what, if you concentrate on the pin, your target is not necessarily that important all of a sudden. And I didn't think about that till I started understanding what he meant. And what he really meant was aim small, miss small. What you want to do is pinpoint the area, the location of the target that you want to hit, whether that's the bullseye or whether that's any other part of a 3D animal and so on and so forth. And you want to concentrate on that spot, not concentrate on the pin. Okay, the pin should be in the background and the target should be your main focus. And dove hunting is like that a lot. Any kind of wing shooting like duck hunting and so on and so forth is like that, because if you aim at the actual pin of your shotgun or the fiber optic sight or bead of your shotgun, you can always shoot behind the bird. It just has to do with the way that our human eye sees that target. So that's very important. Another thing that I see a lot of shooters do right on the archery range is draw back full like this. And then with a compound bow, you got to let off, but sometimes you kind of let off like this and you want to just draw back again like that. That's not a good thing, and I learned that from a longbow shooter who came up to me one time after he saw me shoot, and he says, remember, anytime you let off of your bow like that, it's better to go all the way back down and come to a complete full draw again, because the power in your cams, and most archers will tell you this, the power in your cams in a compound bow are going to change if you let down versus if you start all the way over again. So that's another good rule of thumb when you're shooting a compound bow. So let's put all those things into practice. When I'm going to release, I'm going to take my finger from behind the trigger after I'm at full draw, put it in front of, on top of the release, and then gently move it back to where I'm at the trigger, and then gently pull away. And follow through is important. What I also like to do is after I shoot is just freeze for about a minute or two. If you drop your, not a minute or two, a second or two, unless you want to stand there all day. But no, you want to freeze for a second or two, because follow through is very, very important. A lot of shooters will pull their head out of the shot, to see where their arrow went. A lot of shooters will also drop their bow. And that's going to affect your accuracy, because again, you've still got that arrow traveling through at the end of your shot, traveling all the way through your rest and going into your target. So you want to make sure you follow through very, very religiously every time you do it. So let's do this. I'll pull back like this. I'm gonna aim at my target, put my target on the pin. Oh, I gotta go back down again, okay? Remember that fundamental. Always redraw again if you come down off of your full draw partially. Very, very important. Come back again. I'm not torquing my bow. I'm gonna gently put my finger on top of this release. I'm gonna gently come back and gently release. I'm not pushing that trigger. I'm not punching that trigger. That's very, very important. I just gently come back, and then it's almost a surprise. It's very similar to rifle shooting in that regard, and that's very, very important. What a lot of bow hunters will do is shoot like they're almost in a meditative Zen-like state, especially a lot of target shooters. I've watched a lot of 3D archery competitions especially, and when that shooter's at full draw, it almost looks like they go into a coma of some kind. It blows me away how calm and how almost relaxed and just completely natural. I'm a musician as well, and one thing we talk about in music is the musician's instrument becoming an extension of his body, becoming an extension of the body. And that's really in bow hunting what we should do in any kind of target shooting, any kind of archery. Let the bow become an extension of your body in that regard. Don't torque anything, just let it be a relaxed thing. You can use either finger you want to release, gently squeeze on that release, boom, and there you go. You're ready to rock. Okay, so we're going to attach to the release, Make sure we're solid in there. I'm going to draw back, and you can grip the bow, but as soon as you get to full draw, you're letting that bow release a little bit. You're letting that bow just touch the inside of your thumb between your index finger. Pulling back. I'm going to relax. Put my finger above the rest, looking at the target. Just like that, and we're going to freeze for a second or two before we end up looking at our shot. Freeze for a second or two before we end up looking at the shot. Just frozen, just as we release. That's just a very, very, very good shooting technique that I learned. And when I do that, when I follow through correctly, every single time I end up having better accuracy. I don't know what it is. I think it has to do with shooting fundamentals. And that's the most important part of this, is follow through, follow through, follow through. It's that way in any other sport. Bowling, baseball, anything like that. You get out there, follow through is all part of the technique, and a lot of shooters forget that. Hi, my name is Dustin Warncke. This is Michael Foster. And we just finished a hog hunt here at DV Hunting Ranch in Central Texas, and just got a boar. Couldn't film much as far as the beginning scene for this before we got to daylight, because we made our shot right about daylight, or right as daylight was breaking through. And we shot a nice little pig, a little boar this morning. And so what did you have to say?
After a long season of hunting, public land here in Central Texas, it was nice to finally come out here and just sit in a blind, the only people out here, and film my first pig being shot. And I actually got it done with my 308 that I bought during the, I want to say early spring of this year.
Right.
So
and it's 2016, and it's Christmas Eve, so it's the eve before Christmas Eve, or it's the morning before Christmas Eve.
December
23rd, yeah. And we got it done this morning, so I'm really excited for Michael. Let's go check out our hunt.
All right, thank you. I'm so happy right now. I have hunted since September on public property looking for a pig, and finally got out here and got one with my rifle.
All right.
So I'm done for the year. Got my pigs, so.
Awesome. That's great.
2016 is wrapped up.
All right. Well, I'm on another hunt this morning. Mr. Michael Foster, who's right behind me here, got a nice little meat hog boar this morning, and I'm out here this afternoon hunting with my Air Force Airguns Texan, which I'll show you in just a minute, and really excited about this hunt. Wanted to have this gun on a hog hunt for a long time, and we're out here at DB Hunting Ranch, and we're going to see what we can make happen. So the feeder's getting ready to go off. That's the way we hunt here in Texas and on this ranch. And so we should have some hogs here pretty soon. I'm pretty excited. If you're excited, thanks so much for watching. Baby, pork chops down. What do you think, Michael? Is that a good shot?
That's a good pig right there.
All right. Well, we got us a big black hog tonight. Air Force Airguns, Air Force Texan. Could not be happier with this gun. This is an amazing shot. And made a headshot on her, and can't say enough about really good ammunition and good air guns. And just the mighty power of something like the Air Force Texan, you know, it really shows up on a hog like this. What do you have to say, Mike?
I am really impressed with this air gun. Definitely do some shopping on Air Force's website. I witnessed it for myself tonight, so it was great to witness that.
That's great. Thanks so much for watching us.